Minecraft Bedrock is kinda like the younger brother to Java. We always get made fun of, ignored, or people just never play Bedrock because they assume it sucks. Well, today, hopefully that changes. I'll be giving you 100 reasons you should play Bedrock Edition in the hopes that you'll actually check out the game, or at least learn to appreciate it a little more. And to start, I have to talk about the Hive. While I might be biased, the Hive is my favorite server I've played across both versions of the game. It's just so well made and refreshing compared to everything else, and for me it feels like they're the face of the Bedrock community. For those of you who know, I used to make tons of traps in their Skywars game mode, so I thought I should include some of the wacky features I discovered while doing that. Like Hive's Top Snow. On Hive, you can place Top Snow over air and then use it as kind of like a fake platform to have people fall through. Just to clarify, this and the next couple reasons are not in vanilla Minecraft. But since Hive is such a big part of my Bedrock experience, I had to include them. Another one of my favorite Hive things was the fake ladder trap. You could place ladders backwards so they looked usable, then when someone tried to climb them, they'd just fall to their death. I also would make bridges out of ladders. This looks crazy and was so fun when someone would walk across it. But by far the best feature on the Hive is its custom server option. They make it super simple for viewers to interact with their favorite streamer, and for someone who streams like me, that's a great thing. I don't know if other servers have it this easy, but from my knowledge, Hive does it like no one else, and we just take that for granted. I could talk more about the Hive, but that's not what we're here for, right? We're here to see if Bedrock is better than Java. So why not give some of my favorite things that we have and Java doesn't? The first of these is the ability to put a lead on a boat. If you've ever traveled with a mob, you know it's easiest to just put them in a boat and be on your way. Well, if you need to transport more than one, you're gonna need a couple trips, but not on Bedrock. We can just make a train of boats and transport tons of mobs at once. Bone mealing sugarcane is also a feature I'm super thankful for. In the past, it's been super annoying to get enough paper for level 30 enchants, but now I can just get some bone meal and it takes no time at all. We can also use redstone underwater. Sure, you can't place raw redstone dust in water, but we're able to place repeaters while Java is not. Additionally, we can place things like buttons and tripwire hooks underwater in order to activate this redstone. Once you know of these two features, they really do come in handy. I remember I made this trap using some repeaters in the water under a ruined portal. Bedrock players have longer reach than Java players. We have slightly more reach when it comes to placing or breaking blocks. Java players have to look right on the last pixel to reach something 5 blocks away, while we just do it easy. We also have some mobs that aren't on Java. We get baby squids. Not gonna lie, I had no idea these were in the game until I started making this video, but they're still cool, you can't lie. We also get baby dolphins. These two features are not useful in any way, but you know, why not have them? You know, they're great little guys. When it snows on Bedrock, all of the leaves on the surrounding trees turn a snowy white. This adds a lot more to the game than you'd think and makes the world look really pretty. Speedrunning on Bedrock is much easier. And for someone like me who, you know, sucks at the game, that's a great thing. For example, the stronghold on Bedrock always spawns under a village. It makes finding it so much easier since you can just throw an eye and run until you find a village. Once you get to the end, if you throw a pearl at the dragon, it takes way more damage. Here's what it looks like with and without throwing a pearl. Placing lava at a specific spot while fighting the dragon will just freeze it in place so you can hit it freely. I'm not smart enough to know how to do this myself, but I've seen it a ton in speedruns, and it makes the dragon fight a piece of cake. There's a command on Bedrock, and honestly, it might be on Java too, I have no idea, but there's a command called ticking area. I use this all the time. Literally what it does is you just set a ticking area, then it runs command blocks or redstone when you're not in the chunk. This is super handy for things like farms, or in my case, making maps for videos. On Bedrock, we also get some special blocks, like allow and deny blocks. You can place these to allow or deny players from interacting with things in the environment. Something I think is really cool is that you can use allow blocks to let players place things in adventure mode. I can only imagine what like a map maker can do with that. Map makers also probably love border blocks. Instead of having to create walls of barrier blocks, we can just place one block that makes an invisible border from the void to sky limit. One of my favorite glitches is the portal glitch. glitch. You can glitch nether portals by sleeping in a bed right before you enter. Then, instead of teleporting to the nether coordinates, which would be divided by 8, you teleport to the overworld coordinates in the nether. This saves a lot of time when you're trying to travel a far distance, but don't have something like an elytra. Unlike Java, cauldrons on Bedrock actually have a use. You can dye the water in a cauldron, then right-click it with some leather armor to dye the armor. You can also pour potions into cauldrons, then right-click arrows with them to make tipped arrows. And I'm gonna be completely honest, I have no idea how to normally make tipped arrows because I just do it like this all the time. This is the only way I know how to do it. Another great command that's exclusive to Bedrock is /camera, which is essentially a bad version of replay mod. But you know, it's all we got, so I take it. Even then, it's super helpful, especially in vanilla Minecraft. I usually use it for my thumbnails since, you know, that's just convenient. And the final Bedrock exclusive feature is render distance. On Bedrock, you can set your render distance to a max of 98 chunks. While this does come close to crashing your game, I've actually used it a bunch, especially when I'm lost or trying to find something. Like here, I used it to find the end city. Now, everything I've mentioned up to this point is great, but in my opinion, the best part of Bedrock is how easy it is to play with your friends. It's literally a click away, and then you can just play with whoever you want. On top of that, it's completely free to play online with a friend. If you want to host a private multiplayer server on Java, most of the time it's a super complicated process that ends up costing something. But on Bedrock, it is just a left click. Java's built-in method to play multiplayer is through realms, but Bedrock does this better as well. For the same price as Java, you can create a realm on Bedrock, but you also get hundreds of marketplace maps with it. While it is extremely flawed, MCPE has a lot of upside. Like for starters, you can just play Minecraft wherever you are, as long as you have your phone. I usually end up starting a new world on mobile during a flight or, you know, something where I need to pass time. On top of that, mobile is the cheapest version of Minecraft. Every other version of Minecraft is in the realm of $30, while mobile is only $8. This might be because it's, you know, like the buggiest, but that's besides the point. Something us Bedrock players take for granted is cross-platform compatibility. If you have a friend who plays on their Xbox, you can play with them on your phone, your PC, or whatever you want. This is literally the foundation that Bedrock is built on. Like, you can play with anyone on anything, anywhere. That's the whole point. Similarly, I can use any controller on any device. I used to use a controller while playing Pocket Edition, for example. You can even switch to mobile controls on a PC if you have a touchscreen monitor, which is kind of crazy. Since multiplayer is such a frequent thing on Bedrock, we get some things to go with it that aren't on Java, like /set max players. We can hold up to 40 players in a single world, for free, by the way, but you can also use it to gatekeep people from being able to join your world. If you only want to play with one other friend, you can set the max players to 2, so no one else can join. There's also player permissions. These come over from the Legacy Console Edition, and they are simply toggleable actions a player can or can't do. Comes in handy when you're trying to host an event without everyone beating each other up the whole time. Now, something that Bedrock does really well, in my opinion, is its menus. And while they are kind of boring compared to the rest of the stuff on this list, I have to bring it up because there's a lot more examples of this than you might think. And a great example of it is the world creation menu. Java's menu looks so dark and boring and terrible and cringe, while Bedrock's looks more modern and easier to navigate. It also makes this fun little noise when you create a new world. The achievement menu is also way better than Java's, in my opinion. Java's is like this stupid, confusing spider web of a bunch of random icons, while Bedrock's is this nice, clean menu where you can scroll through what you have and have not done. The achievement menu also makes it clear and easy to track your progress. There's a percentage of how many you've completed along with how much time you've spent playing the game, which I really like. In the chat menu, we also get the option to do what I like to call quick commands. Instead of typing through a command, you can just click these buttons and it'll fill it in for you, which I can imagine is super helpful for mobile players. Number 38 might be controversial, but I like Bedrock's player list way more. I just think it's easier to actually find who you're looking for in the list since their IGN goes along with a picture. On Java, my eyes hurt from doing so much reading. I'm like a child. In general, though, I just think it's easier to navigate Bedrock's settings and menus. This might be because there's less of them, but when I'm playing on Java, I always get lost in the settings trying to find something that is in plain view on Bedrock. Minecraft Bedrock is definitely most well known for its bridging. Even if you're a Java player, you got to admit Bedrock bridging is way better and way more fun than Java. So I compiled a few of my favorite bridges to show off on this list. Starting with jump bridging, which is the fastest and most common type of Bedrock bridging. If you don't know how this works, we are able to hold down the place button so we can place blocks as fast as we need to. Icy bridging is similar, but just diagonal. I don't actually think it's faster than just jump bridging, but it's a great way to flex on somebody. Similarly, double bridging is another bridge that's completely useless other than to flex on somebody. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's just someone building a 2-block wide bridge. Andromeda bridging is known to be kind of a meme in the Minecraft community since it's literally impossible. But now with crackhead Bedrock bridgers like this guy, it's actually possible to Andromeda bridge. But the most unique and useful bridging feature we get access to is down bridging. If you don't have something to clutch with, you can slowly stack yourself down to safety. I use this all the time in the Nether where water is non-existent. Alright, we're getting pretty close to the halfway point through the video, so I want to remind you to subscribe if you haven't. If you're a Bedrock player, I've got some great Bedrock content coming up that you will not want to miss. But anyway, we are now in the section I like to refer to as things that I would never know are in the game if I wasn't making this video. These are completely useless things, but are nonetheless Bedrock exclusives. And as you will soon learn, there are way too many of these. The first of these is that you can stack cakes on Bedrock. On Java, they are all individual items. Thanks, Microsoft. Very cool. Great addition. Thank you. On Java, baby zombies can only ride the back of a chicken, while on Bedrock, they can ride around on a bunch of things, including other zombies. If for some reason you ever needed to break an enchantment table with your fist, don't fear, because it will still drop the table. This does not make any sense in the slightest, but we take those. We take it. When you load into a vanilla Java world, the entire ground is littered with billions of grass plants. On Bedrock, though, there are a lot less of these. In my opinion, this is the way it should be. The amount of grass on Java is very overwhelming, especially for someone like me who is afraid of grass. Pistons on Bedrock are able to push and pull chests. In my case, this is a useless feature because I'm stupid and don't know how to use redstone, but I bet this is great for things like storage systems or, you know, maybe farms. If you need to light a campfire and just so happen to be on fire at the same time, you can just stand on the campfire and light it that way. This makes sense, but like, when would you ever be in this situation? Weirdly, fire has a lot more uses in Bedrock than Java, like fire aspect. You can use it to light things, including candles. Even the fire aspect book works for this. You can also throw snowballs through fire to light other things on fire. If you activate a dispenser with a trident in it, it actually throws the trident. I can imagine that once again, this is good for farms. When you stop flying in creative mode on Java, you glide a little bit instead of a complete stop on Bedrock. I always thought this was annoying, so I'm glad they, for some reason, changed it on Bedrock. When you shear a sheep, it still shows what color of wool that sheep has, versus Java where they all look white. If you really want to flex on somebody, you can make a boat using a minecart and some soul sand. This is the most useless feature of all time, but it's so goofy that I had to put it on here. On Bedrock, a book shows 2 pages at once instead of 1. It's tiny features like that which kind of subtly improve the game. Similarly, armor stands actually have arms on Bedrock. This one might be on Java as well, I have no clue. But it's very common when playing VR on Bedrock to give yourself as much extra reach as you can. If you take steps forward in real life, you'll be closer to the person you're fighting than you actually are. Full keyboard gameplay is a Bedrock setting that completely disables your mouse, so you're forced to play the game with only your keyboard. This sounds like a bad thing, but I actually think it's pretty funny, and it's also good for YouTube content. If you want to save some time dyeing your shulker boxes, you can just dye the shulker a color while it's still alive. This feels kind of like inhumane, but like, you know, the game's a game, I guess. Like, what am I gonna do? There's a Bedrock command called play animation, and it's the most disturbing thing I've ever seen in my life. This should probably be on the bad list, honestly, but I'm sure someone likes it, right? Anyway, there's a glitch where if you use sand to bridge, you can eventually just place blocks on air. The reason I'm such a big fan of this bug is because it's great for traps, and I make a lot of traps. If you ever wanted to, you can ride a boat through a half block gap on Bedrock. And the final random Bedrock feature is salmon. Salmon come in all different sizes on Bedrock, but on Java, they are all the same size. Alright, that's all for the random features, but Bedrock also has some not random features that are great, like RTX. If you don't know, RTX is Bedrock's built-in shader texture pack. And while it's not perfect by any means, I think it is a great thing for the game and makes the game look great. Mojang supporting it as much as they do is also probably a good sign. Something else I like is how Bedrock handles coordinates. They just have a toggle that either always shows it on the screen or not at all. And in my opinion, that's way easier than trying to weed it out through a wall of text. This one actually isn't a Bedrock feature, but I still think I should mention it. Geyser is a server plugin that allows Bedrock players to connect to Java servers. I personally love that we have this capability. It's not only good for the growth of the game, but also for YouTube content, which I make a lot of. Alright, number 69 might be a familiar face for those of you who watched the last video. That's right. He's back. I've come around on the little dude in the corner. I roasted him in the last video, but now I realize he's just a little guy. You know, never did anything to hurt anyone. Something else that was in the last video was the marketplace. And while it's mostly terrible, it does have a few good things to it. Like, to be fair, some marketplace maps are actually decent. My favorite maps are those parkour ones you've seen in like every TikTok. They're super fun. I've literally bought all of them. I have a problem. The marketplace also does collabs with other franchises. There's tons of maps where you can play in the world of your favorite movie or show, and most of the time, these maps are super high quality. While we are on the topic, some servers also do collaboration events. The biggest is definitely Hive's Sonic event they just did a couple years ago. If you're a fan of these franchises, this type of thing has to be super cool. The marketplace also has search filters to help you find what you're looking for. You can sort it by tons of things, including rating, which was super helpful to me when I was making this video, for example. My favorite thing about the marketplace though is that you can use gift cards to purchase things. My grandma is addicted to giving me Xbox gift cards, so I legit have hundreds of dollars waiting to be spent on the marketplace. I've literally never spent any of my own money on Minecraft, so thanks, grandma. But you don't have to spend money though. There's a lot of stuff that's free on the marketplace, and it's usually better quality. Speaking of free maps, every year we get a free mob vote map on Bedrock. Last year's was you know, not the smoothest, but nonetheless, it's something super cool that just can't be done on Java. Something else the marketplace gives out for free is capes. Every once in a while, we get another cape to use, and all of them look pretty cool. The marketplace also has emotes. Some of them suck, but the large majority of them are absolutely amazing. The second I laid my eyes on the gritty, I bought it with no hesitation and no regrets. If you bought something on the old legacy console version of the game, then moved to Bedrock, you'd retain the stuff you bought. I still have my OG texture packs and skin packs, which was definitely a great thing when I first switched over. Texture packs and skins are surprisingly well thought out on Bedrock, and I really want to talk about both of them. So to start, I'm going to touch on texture packs. And just in general, it feels like you can do a lot more with texture packs on Bedrock. Like most of the Java packs I've seen have been the generic PvP packs that just change items, but the packs I use on Bedrock completely change the entire game. A great example is the Legacy texture pack that completely changes the game to make it look like the old Legacy console edition. It's also common on Bedrock to have custom UI on screen when playing servers. An example I always think of is the Hive, where when you complete something, a little pop-up will come on the screen. They also have little icons in their Bed Wars game, for example, that, you know, also represent kind of on-screen UI. Now, these next two might not even be texture pack related, but I looped them in here anyway. But Bedrock has custom menu screens that are way better than Java. Java server menus are always based around a chest inventory, whereas Bedrock are completely custom with their own unique menus. This is so much cleaner and is a very underrated Bedrock feature in my opinion. Custom models are also super common on Bedrock and most of the time look great. This is something you just don't see commonly on Java, and in my opinion it makes Bedrock servers feel way more professional and way better to play than Java servers. Alright, that was texture packs, so now let's move on to skins. Even though they look awful most of the time, if you really wanted to, you could make your own custom skin in vanilla Minecraft on Bedrock. My friend Turbo actually made his skin that he still uses to this day in the Bedrock skin creation thing. It isn't the best. I'm sorry, Turbo, but you know, he still did it. Completing achievements on Bedrock is more satisfying because you get rewards for completing each achievement. These rewards are sometimes emotes, but more commonly things you can use to customize your skin. But if you go the traditional route and download a skin, you can still get some unique things compared to Java. The one I see all the time is Sweats having that like little hat on their head, or some of them get even weirder than that. So those are the cool things you can do with skins and textures on Bedrock. If you watched my last video, you might have noticed that some of the things I've discussed here are also on that list, and that's because not everything is completely bad or completely good. And the featured servers list is one of those things. Having a featured servers list is a great idea since it almost unites the Bedrock community in a way. Every person who logs onto the game is directed to the same place, which can be great for growth. I also just enjoy Bedrock servers more than Java. This might just be my Bedrock bias, but I think the top Bedrock servers are way more engaging and have way much more to them than Java servers. If you disagree with me here, let me know, but that's just my opinion. And just a little side note, I think this little description of what each server is on the side is a cool thing to add. It helps to have people actually know what they're playing before they log on. But another example of something that is both good and bad is our PvP. See, Bedrock still has the old PvP where you spam click, and while in my opinion this makes survival a lot worse, the old PvP is much better for servers. I think I would hate playing all of my favorite servers if they updated the combat. If you want to make an alt account on Java, you need to pay for a whole new copy of the game. But on Bedrock, it is completely free. I personally love this. I used to make a ton of alts to disguise myself for videos back in the day, but it's also a bad thing in the sense of people ban evading or hacking on an alt account. A common theme I've noticed while making this video is that Bedrock makes a lot of the small things easier. And I shockingly still have more examples of that. Like, the game just runs cleaner. It's unheard of on Java to be able to use 60 render distance and not be getting like 10 FPS. Whereas Bedrock can handle it, which to me is surprising since it's made for your phone. Maybe it's just my computer, but I have a much easier time running Bedrock than Java. Importing worlds or packs into your game is also much easier. If I want a texture pack on Java, I have to download it, open the folder, drag it in, then pray that it actually works. Where on Bedrock, I download it, open it, and it's in the game. Same thing goes the other way around. Exporting your worlds and sending it to someone else is also super easy. I have zero clue how this works on Java, but we literally click this, then send it to someone, and they have your world file. Where Java has snapshots, Bedrock has the preview version. I like this more than Java snapshots. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really have a reason, but it feels a lot easier than loading up a new snapshot every time. We also get experiments, which add things to your world ranging from new features to weird ones that change the most specific things about the game. Bedrock also has its own secret version of the game called Education Edition. I guess some schools use Minecraft to teach kids stuff. I wish my school did that, bro. I'd be flexing on kids in 3rd grade. I'd be icy bridging during math class, you know what I mean? Education Edition gets its own items that the rest of the game doesn't have. I don't remember all of them, but some that I can think of are underwater TNT, colored torches, and glue. They're definitely unique, to say the least. But even outside of Education Edition, Bedrock has some weird items in the vanilla game. We have heat blocks, glowing obsidian, whatever this thing is. I don't know why these are in the game or what they do, but it's cool to have them, I guess. And number 100, the final reason you should play Bedrock Edition is because it's better. Okay? It's simply the better version of the game. I said it. you know, fight me. Anyway, those were 100 reasons you should play Bedrock Edition. If you hate Bedrock Edition and want more reasons to hate it, click the video on screen right now of 100 reasons Bedrock Edition sucks.